I'm Jerry, and today I'm making a really excellent chicken soup. I found the recipe in the Baltimore Sun paper one day. It's called Bobby Nelly's Chicken Soup. It's a Jewish type chicken soup, but I've made some changes to it and hopefully improved it. Put in about 1.5 gallons, that's about 6 liters of water, because a lot of the water will evaporate. I make it the day ahead of time and put it in the refrigerator to cool down, so it makes it easier to skim the fat off. I clean as much fat off the chicken as I possibly can. Next, put the chicken in the pot and bring the water to a rolling boil. As the water is heating, I cut up all the vegetables and get those ready. I normally use a couple of parsnips, but the store happened to be out of them on the day I was shopping for these ingredients, so I left it out in this particular case. Next, I thoroughly wash the parsley and the dill. It's the dill that gives the soup this wonderful taste and aroma. I then chop up the parsley and the dill and add it to the other vegetables. Turnips also add a very nice flavor to this. I then skim off as much scum off the chicken as I possibly can. Next, I toss in the cut up vegetables. Now I add a cup of split peas. I sometimes put in lentils and also add a cup of pearl barley. Give it a few stirs. I use a few sprinkles of Mrs. Dash seasoning. You may like more or less than I do, so you have to try it for yourself to see how much to add. Cook it for about 3 hours at a medium heat. You need to stir it occasionally so that the barley and the peas don't stick to the bottom. Now you may have noticed I didn't put any salt in the soup. I used Mrs. Dash. The reason for that is I have problems with high blood pressure, so I don't use any salt in my cooking. Sometimes my wife will add salt to her dish as she's eating it, but I have to stay away from that. Mrs. Dash is very good. It's a very good salt substitute. It has 16 different spices in it. To sanitize the cutting board, I spray on diluted liquid bleach. I put the soup in 2 smaller containers and let it sit overnight in the refrigerator. Next morning, I remove as much fat as I can. I leave out enough soup for tonight's dinner and put the rest of it in freezer bags. Squeeze out the air. This soup is really enough for a whole meal. I sometimes go out and get a baguette or some French bread to go with it. That's really all you need for a meal, because it's a very rich soup, or perhaps you might consider it to be a thin stew. Whatever you want to call it, it's really delicious.
Is the soup ready, Gerald?
Should be.
I'll
have to check. Okay, babe, here's your soup.
Thank you.
It's going to be very hot. Try it and see what you think.
Okay. Very tasty.
Very nice. This is really good.